The user experience at Twitter has gone in to the tank. I said when Elon Musk took it over, I said I'm just gonna watch it and see what happens. Very quickly, it got annoying. Then violent videos. Now I'm constantly muting them. Ads, I'm constantly muting them. The user experience is more toxic than it's ever been, and I don't think Elon. He's obviously a bright guy. He's a creative, but I also think he's distracted. Threads now gets unveiled, and I went on it. My staff put me on it. I find it irritating. When you look as a young broadcaster coming up, you've been very, I think been very dynamic on your Twitter spaces to, engage with people. I find the Elon Musk Twitter experience, and I try to be fair about it, just increasingly a poor experience. So I'm not on it at all.
Well, go ahead. Sorry. So
where are you as a younger person on social media today?
So there's a bunch of social media stuff I'd actually like to talk to you about. So for me, it was kind of a sad choice I made, but that I felt I needed to do it, or it was good for me to do it, because I do miss out on some interactions. I miss out on maybe some ideas I wouldn't otherwise have thought of. But 5 years ago, around the time I started to have a real national profile, just said, I am almost never looking at my mentions. I am not engaging in it whatsoever, except for, if people don't know, back when Twitter was, pre-Musk, if you were verified, you had a separate mentions tab that would only show you tweets from other verified people. And so what that would mean is, if any athletes, if any other journalists, if any other broadcasters were engaging with what I was saying, positively or negatively, I would see it. And that maybe people can say that's elitist, I'm not listening, but it was too toxic of just you. I don't care how kind of, you know what I mean, above it you claim to be. If you have thousands of strangers saying basically you suck, it's going to get in your head somehow. And the flip side is, if you have thousands of strangers saying you're the greatest, it's going to get in your head somehow. And the things that you talked to Ethan Strauss about this, the things that get the most applause on social media are not necessarily representative of the things that are what I use social media for, which is a professional vehicle. You know what I mean? And so I stopped looking at my mentions. So to this day, just yesterday at the Yankee game, some guy came up to me, was like, man, I don't know why so many people effing hate you. I think you're great. And it was nice of him. But I also I was honestly, I'm blissfully unaware these days of how many people hate me, because you got to find you better see me in person and tell me. And I have seen, so that's a very long, and it's not even a full answer. The reason I mentioned it, Musk ripping off that verified tab to mean anything was, to me, very damaging on my ability to engage with anyone on Twitter.
Yes,
very damaging. And so that to me that's a shame. Now then you have hey, sign up for Blue Sky. I got an invite code. And then it's sign up for Spill. And then yesterday it was Threads. And I'll probably be a begrudging late adopter, but I don't know, man. I got 600,000 followers on Twitter. I also am blessed to have a platform outside of social media where, if you want to see what I have to say, I'm on television every day. I do a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't need, it's not my only outlet. And Twitter falling apart, while it'll be harder to follow the news, might be good for me because I do like spend, I'm compulsively reading the news on it. You know what I mean? And like I could probably catch up on the news 3 times a day, like if I just sat and did it instead of 30 every 3 minutes checking whatever checking. Why do you think you and I are some of the few that aren't like regularly arguing with folks on the internet about random bullshit and letting that drain us the way I think a lot of folks have, and I think it's been hard for them.
Well, I'm really busy, married, 6 kids total, restaurants, beer, radio, the volume, a real estate business with my wife. I just don't have time, and I don't care. So, the way I always look at criticism, nobody likes any commissioner. They all have less than 50% likability. Nobody likes Trudeau in Canada. Nobody likes Biden. Nobody likes anybody. Who's popular? The Rock? So to me, are you relevant in this space? You are. I am. Whoever. There's a handful of people. I think the game is relevancy. And I'm also doing a 3-hour show. I've said this before. I play fast. The only way to make a simulcast work is you have to play fast. Steph Curry has 2 turnovers a night and misses 11 shots. I'm not in the perfect business. I'm not Tom Rinaldi. I'm not Tom Verducci. I'm not Tom Brokaw. I'm on a treadmill. I'm playing fast. My pace is fast. So if stories break, I don't read my show. I'm just going.
So here's the thing, and I find it fascinating because I don't mind any of the this person sucks, that this person's a hack, whatever stuff. Yeah. I will admit though, even though I don't engage, I'm not going to act like I don't see anything. And so I obviously have, and I have to eat it, that my long-term projections on Nikola Jokic were wrong. Everything I said I didn't think he could do, he did. That, and I got to eat that. And all the Nuggets fans killing me, they deserve their victory lap. And eventually I think they'll like me. But whatever, it is what it is. But I will admit, when someone put together a 3-minute either Twitter video or YouTube video, whatever it was sent to me, that took the harshest stuff I said about Jokic from 2 years ago and presented it as, here was Nick Wright the day after Jokic won the title. I was like, I feel like this should be illegal. Like this is like this. Like this has 150,000 views, and you're presenting it like the day after Jokic won the title. I'm here saying nobody thinks he's one of the 10 best players in the league, and all these things that those are my words, and I did say them, but I said them 2 years ago, and so like the reason I'm bringing it up to you is because maybe the answer is you are busy and you're elevated past it, but I feel like we have seen colleagues or friends of ours that have really been pulled down into the morass of it and really let it negatively affect either their mental health or what they will or won't talk about on the air. I know you said years and years ago that Old Takes Exposed was a blessing for you, because it made people afraid to be on there, and you didn't give a shit about it being on there, and it made people more vanilla. But I do think there is anyone acting like it never affects you at all, and I shouldn't say anyone. I think it does affect people to a degree. The question is, how much will you opt into seeing it? Because once you opt into going into it, it's hard to not have it get in your head in some way, shape, or form. At least it is for me.
Well, and here's the other way I look at it. So, and I don't follow the people who criticize me. They have a right to, and I don't think they're They don't have a lot of integrity sometimes, perhaps. I don't know. But to what your point is, that's probably a pretty regular occurrence. But I'll give you an example. Maybe if it affected my revenue, it'd be different. But I'll give you an example. So in June, in an era of cord cutting, my show was up on TV 45% year to year. That's unheard of. Same show, right? Different, herd line. My revenue was up in radio in a recession. No other sports show in the country's radio show was up. The volume's on fire. Just met with multiple bankers. My restaurants, my beer. We just got a major restaurant, grocery store chain to pick it up. If I was struggling or I felt some level of criticism or mockery was hurting my business, perhaps I would see it differently. But the truth is, the internet is a lot of, I'll give an example, is I don't check mentions, but I don't run of my 8 social accounts. Yeah. I don't go on 7 of them. The only one I do is Twitter, and I have so many filters on it that I don't see anything, right? And so what you'll find is that the people who are, mocking or critical, it's the same 30 people. And so if you mute them, and I don't block, I mute. So I let them yell and scream at me.
Yell into the void.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So I think perhaps if it affected, but I have never been. I mean, a prime example, I was at an airport yesterday in Salt Lake City, and I had a Delta representative, a basketball coach, an older lady, a kid, and a guy, as I was walking to the plane, he was in the lounge and coming out, and he's like, is that like every day? And I'm like, it's every minute of every day. And I said, they're my customers. Nobody's ever come up and been mean or, some people may say, I can't believe you said this, but my real life experience, perhaps anecdotal, is so overwhelmingly positive.
Which
the
is
revenue,
why
my ratings. So it just doesn't, I don't care.
So that's why, and the reason I kind of went down this rabbit hole is, it's why I'm oddly, I thought if you'd have told me 3 years ago, a unhinged bazillionaire is going to buy Twitter and seemingly do a Brewster's Millions run it into the ground competition. And what's going to happen is it's going to splinter off into a half dozen Twitter clones. People aren't going to be able to duplicate it. Like if there was one, maybe, I don't know. If you'd have told me that 3 years ago, I think I'd have been devastated. I think I would have been like, oh my God, I've spent so much time building up an audience here, doing all this stuff. And now that it's happening, I'm a little relieved. Like if this thing goes away, if it goes away and then a week later I lose my job, I'd be very sad. I'd be like, oh, how, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. But if I have, as long as I have my platform, if Twitter, because I'm not going to quit it. I can't. I'm pretty sure I'm addicted to Twitter. But if I have my platform and Twitter starts to just splinter off into whatever the hell it's turning into, I'm not going to be that sad. Because you also have what you described is true. I was at the Yankee game yesterday, and I had pretty good seats. And I stood up to go do something, and this guy shouted, "Hey, Nick Wright, LeBron sucks. Jordan's the GOAT." Shouted from 20 rows behind me. And I smiled, and it was a break in the action. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to him. And I walked up there, and he was so nice. And his girlfriend, or I think it was his girlfriend, was like, oh my God, he watches you every day. This is so cool. And took a picture. And the moment I did that, I mean, again, it's not a fair sample audience. I'm at a sporting event, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I probably took 35 pictures in the next 10 minutes. Yeah. And everyone was wonderful. Every single interaction was wonderful. In real life, it's not only that, and I'm sure, so I would bet, statistically speaking, some of those people probably have tweeted awful things about me.
Sure.
But it's because I do think the internet kind of pushes you towards a more negative place.
Sure.
And in real life, it's like, even if I think this guy's opinions suck, I enjoy watching him on TV, and now I'm meeting him in real life. And I agree with you entirely that the actual human interactions are 99% positive. And so I just, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen of Twitter, and I'm not sure how much I'll miss it if it goes away.